So nitric acid formula is HNO3, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, isn't it? So nitrogen is the extra element, hydrogen is there in all acids, oxygen means it is a oxy acid. So it is oxy acid of nitrogen. Clear? If I take the bondings here, hydrogen is bonded with oxygen. In any acid, you'll see hydrogen will be bonded with oxygen, especially oxy acids. So this is bonded with oxygen. That oxygen in turns is bonded with nitrogen. Nitrogen has altogether how many electrons? You have 5 electrons in the outermost shell, isn't it? So 1, 2. Now this is hydrogen is stable. Oxygen, it has 6 electron. It is combining with 2 more. So it is oxygen is also stable. Now comes nitrogen. Nitrogen has how many? Like this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more electron. 5 electrons, isn't it? This will combine with oxygen. Oxygen needs 2. So it will be like this. So this oxygen is also stable. Now nitrogen, if I count, nitrogen is also stable. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this 4, total is 8. But still we can see O3 is there. So that extra oxygen will be bonded as a coordinate bond. So these 2 electrons will be combining with oxygen. So it will be like this. So H is combining with O, that is combining with N. This N is combining with O, isn't it? And then this nitrogen is combining with another O. So they are covalent bonds, single bond also, double bond also, and there is one coordinate bond. So this is your electron dot diagram of nitric acid. Clear? So let's continue from here now. Nitric acid is a strong acid, you know that, isn't it? It has only one hydrogen, so it is a strong monobasic acid. Yeah. You take nitric acid, is it found in nature or not? Just let me know. You'll have studied so many things. Is it found in nature? You have done biology also, isn't it? So any idea whether nitric acid is found in nature or not? Anyone can say anything? No idea. We take nitric acid can be formed freely in nature. Yeah, it can be formed naturally. How it is formed? Look here. You take this occurrence. Then nitric acid is formed in nature during lightning and thunderstorm. Clear? So let's see. We are talking about in free state. What happens? How is it formed? Clear? I'll just show you. You know, in free state, where is it formed? If you take HNO3 is formed naturally during lightning and thunderstorm and rain, because we need rainwater. Clear? This occurs in many steps in the following steps. It's not only one step, but it has many steps. So what are the steps? Let's see. The first thing, if you take air contains nitrogen, 78% is nitrogen, you know that. And along with this, you have oxygen. Oxygen is how much? 20 1% almost. So these two are present in air, but they do not react. These two, they don't react. So what happens? Normally, under normal condition, no reaction between them. But during lightning, if lightning occurs, then what will happen? These two, they can combine. They'll combine to form NO. I have told you what is NO. NO is nitric oxide. NO is nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is formed. This nitric oxide is highly reactive, and therefore it immediately combines with the oxygen present in the air. So what will happen? Once this is formed during lightning. After that, you don't need lightning, but this NO combines with oxygen from the air itself. These two were present in air, isn't it? This was in air, this was also in air. This is formed. Once this is formed, this again in air. So what will happen? Since NO is highly reactive, it will combine by itself and it will form NO2. NO2 is nitrogen dioxide. Now, when this is formed, what will happen is there's rain also. So this NO2 is soluble in water. So that means it dissolves in rainwater. NO2 dissolves in rainwater. So what will you get? In rainwater, this will become NO2 plus H2O. This is coming from rain. Clear? And with this, oxygen is there in the atmosphere. So these three things, they combine, they form HNO3, that is nitric acid. So in these three steps, what you can see, acid is already formed. So that's why what happens during thunderstorm and rain, whenever it happens, lightning occurs, then in that case, there's a possibility that nitric acid is coming down with the rain. And that rain, you can always call it acid rain, isn't it? This is a natural acid rain. It's not due to pollution. Yeah. So this nitric acid comes down with rainwater. So rainwater falls on the soil. Now, wherever it falls, the substances which are present there, it can react with those things, isn't it? So what actually happens here is when this rainwater is there, it is combining with this. Nitric acid comes with rainwater, and when it is coming, it will go into the soil. Soil contains many minerals. Soil contains many minerals, isn't it? Unlimited number of minerals are there. Now these minerals, one of the example is CaCO3, or it could be MgCO3. So these things, they easily combine with this nitric acid. The nitric acid that is coming can easily combine with this minerals. These are present in the soil. So when they combine, what will they form? You know, carbonate combines with nitric acid. What will it form? Salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So CaCO3 combining with this. What will you get? Calcium nitrates, isn't it? And then water and carbon dioxide. Same way here you'll have magnesium nitrate, water, and CO2. So what happens? Whatever mineral is there, that mineral is now converted into nitrate. Because of this nitric acid, the rainwater, which is bringing nitric acid, it reacts with the minerals. And when it reacts with the minerals, it is converted into nitrates. And just a few days back, I told you, nitrates are soluble in water. So what will happen? These nitrates are soluble in water. Nitrates are soluble in water. So once they dissolve in water, what will happen? These nitrates, they are absorbed by plants. So whenever plants, they absorb water from the soil, these nitrates can enter into their body, isn't it? They are absorbed by plants through water, isn't it? Through their roots, of course. So whenever the roots are taking in water from the soil, these nitrates will also enter into the plant body. Clear? So they are absorbed by plants, and these plants, what they do, they convert this into proteins. So nitrogen from the atmosphere is going into the plants, and then from the plants it is converted into proteins. You know, proteins are nitrogenous compounds, isn't it? So they are absorbed by plants, which then converts them into proteins. So what you can see here, from nitrogen in air, it is going into proteins. These protein, the plants are consumed by animals, you know, herbivores, carnivores, top carnivores, all those things you already know, isn't it? And then again, these herbivores or omnivores or carnivores, they die, they go into the soil. From soil, nitrogen can be released in the form of nitrogen gas by some bacteria, denitrifying bacteria. So what will happen? Again, it will go back into the air. So what happens? A complete cycle is formed. So that cycle is called nitrogen cycle. So we don't have to study nitrogen cycle here, but this is a part of nitrogen cycle. Whatever you studied just now, we are producing nitric acid, what is called, naturally during thunderstorm and rain. So that is a part of nitrogen cycle. Understood? So how these are going into the soil and they're converted into nitrates. Now you know it. Clear? So this is in free state. You are getting in this form. Clear? But acids, generally being more reactive, they're always found in combined state. Most of the time you'll see they're not found in free state. This is formed naturally. That is another thing. But nitric acid is always found in combined state. So the next part is in combined state. If I take the combined state, then in that case, what way is it found? Combined state means they occur as salts. Okay, the salts of nitric acid are nitrates. So metal nitrates, all metal nitrates are the combined form of nitric acid. Clear? So some common salts which you are used to is KNO3, NaNO3, so potassium nitrate, sodium nitrate. These are very common salts. Yeah, these are very common salts. This is potassium nitrate. Commonly, it is also called simply niter. If I say niter, the common name, that is potassium nitrate. Yeah. If you take this, this is sodium nitrate. And this also has a common name. This is chili salt petre. Chili salt petre. In case of potassium nitrate, you can also call it Bengal salt petre or Indian salt petre. Clear, these two are very common. Apart from this, calcium nitrate is also there, which can exist together. So CaNO3 2. These are the common salts of nitric acid which you find. Is it clear? All of you have copied?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
okay, so we'll go to the next part. That is your laboratory preparation of nitric acid. Laboratory preparation of nitric acid. Again, I told you whenever you are studying laboratory preparation, point wise you learn. Nowadays you don't have long question answers. So point wise you learn, and those points are the ones which are asked. So whatever points I'll give you, you learn each and every point. The very first thing, whenever we are going to prepare anything, we always start with certain chemicals. So they are called reagents. So reagents used. What are the things which we are going to use? So the first one, for nitric acid, we use potassium nitrate. We can use potassium nitrate. That is, the formula is just now we saw KNO3, commonly called niter. Instead of this, you can use sodium nitrate also. Potassium nitrate is the main thing which we are using, but in case you don't have this, you can also use sodium nitrate. Number 2, we use concentrated sulfuric acid. Don't forget to add the words concentrated. Clear? What type of acid you are using, that has to be specified. So concentrated sulfuric acid. Formula you all already know, H2SO4, isn't it? And the common name also you know. We have already used the common name last time only. The common name is oil of vitriol. So we are taking two things, potassium nitrate and concentrated sulfuric acid. So these two, when we take, what is the quantity which we are going to take? So the ratio in which we are taking KNO3 is to H2SO4. This is equals to 1:1. If I take 1 kg of KNO3, I have to take 1 kg of H2SO4 also. So exactly in the same amount. Clear? Then the next thing is your diagram. So we need a diagram. So for that, as usual, you'll refer to your book. You all have your book, isn't it? So I'll just show you the diagram here. You can see here, this is your laboratory preparation of nitric acid. You take this, what will happen? The apparatus is again a special type. You can see here, we have one single apparatus designed in a different way. Clear? So this glass apparatus, you can see there's no other connectors and other things, isn't it? Usually we used to have what is called delivery tube and other things here and there, but those things are not there. The apparatus is a special one. Why it is special, we'll see that. Again, we'll write the points to note, then we'll see what is exactly happening. You can see here, there's a opening here. Through this opening, you'll add the reagents. The reagents are potassium nitrate and concentrated nitric acid. So through this is your inlet. Yeah. So from inlet, we have added concentrated nitric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid. We are going to prepare nitric acid, isn't it? So we have added concentrated sulfuric acid and niter. Niter means potassium nitrate. So these two we have added here. Now, once we have added these two, we'll heat it. Clear? So when we heat this, the reaction takes place here. Nitric acid is given out. So nitric acid, since we are heating it, you'll get it in vapor form. Those vapors, they'll pass through this and they'll condense here. So here we have a condenser. You can see here it is cooled with water. From outside, it is all kept inside water so that the temperature inside is cold. So whatever nitric acid is coming in, that will condense and it will fall down here. Understood? So this is your preparation. So the diagram, you can remember it. Clear? Again, drawing of diagram, they don't ask, but instead of that, they can give A here, B here, C here. So you just have to name them what they are. Understood? So this is your laboratory preparation. So diagram is important. Clear? How the reaction takes place? Let's see that now. Clear? So diagram you have already seen. Now with this, what we'll do? We have this part, the next part, that is the reaction. If I take the reaction, then in this case, what is happening? We are having KNO3 and H2SO4. This is concentrated. So potassium nitrate and concentrated sulfuric acid. We'll heat this. Now here, when we heat, it is heated below 200 degrees Celsius. Again, there is a reason for that. Some reasons we have already done last day when we did the other one, HCl, isn't it? Here we are talking about nitric acid. We are taking the same acid here. Clear? So when I take this, what will happen? This will form KHSO4 plus HNO3. So potassium, hydrogen, sulfate is formed along with nitric acid vapors. What you are getting is vapors, and I told you the vapors will pass into the next container, and there we just have to condense. So in between, you don't have anything else, isn't it? So once the reaction takes place, the vapors are there. So directly we go to collection. How do we collect it? Just now you saw it is cooled in a container by decreasing the temperature, isn't it? The temperature is cooled with, the temperature is brought down by using water and ice. So what happens? Here you can say the nitric acid vapors. You're getting vapors in the reaction, isn't it? The nitric acid vapors distilled are condensed in a water cooled receiver. It is cooled in a water cooled water cooled receiver. So we'll just now you saw the diagram only, isn't it? So the container is cooled with water. So you're getting nitric acid. This nitric acid which you are obtaining will be concentrated nitric acid. Clear? The nitric acid obtained is concentrated nitric acid. Done, all of you? Then let's continue now. We have done this collection part. Then we have already obtained nitric acid, isn't it? This nitric acid is already concentrated. So whenever you want, whatever type you want, you can produce it by adding the water to it. If you want dilute, add water to it. If you want concentrated, you can straight away use this, isn't it? Here again, points to note. A few points to note, which you have to know. Here also, you can see in the reactant, which acid we are using. Concentrated sulfuric acid. Why do we use concentrated sulfuric acid? Why? Why concentrated sulfuric acid is used? I told you last day also. Concentrated H2SO4 is preferred as a reactant. Why? As it is a, what will it be? Anyone can answer it? As it is a non-volatile acid. It does not go into vapor state. If suppose this is volatile, you'll get a mixture of nitric acid as well as sulfuric acid. So another problem will come for separation. But since this is non-volatile, it does not go into vapor state, and therefore that problem does not occur. Understood? So that was your first point. The second thing, you can see the reaction temperature is always kept below 200. Why? Reaction temperature is always kept below 200 degrees Celsius. Why? Is always kept below 200 degree Celsius. Why is it so? Because number one, here we are preparing nitric acid, and nitric acid is unstable. If I heat nitric acid, it decomposes. So because nitric acid decomposes at higher temperature, As the temperature increases, nitric acid, what will happen? It will start decomposing. How does it decompose? HNO3. When you heat this, it will become H2O NO2 plus O2. So it will decompose into this. You can balance this. Four. This is a balanced equation, I think. Yeah. So this is one of your reason. This is not the only reason. This is one of your reason. The second thing, which we did last day also, that is, if the temperature is higher, instead of potassium hydrogen sulfate, it will form potassium sulfate, and that potassium sulfate sticks to the glass. It fuses with the glass. So what I can say, at higher temperature, potassium sulfate is formed, which fuses with the glass, forming a hard crust. And is difficult to remove. We did this last day also. That was sodium. Here it is potassium. That is the only difference, but both of them, they fuse with the glass. And when they fuse, we cannot remove that. It forms a crust, and that crust cannot be removed. That means the apparatus becomes useless. You cannot use the same apparatus again. And moreover, if you're using the apparatus, a layer of this potassium sulfate will already be stuck there. So what will happen? To heat it, you need more energy. That means fuel will be wasted. Clear? If the layer is already there and you are heating it, what will happen? Fuel will be wasted. Clear? So for this also, we have to write down the reaction. KNO3 will combine with H2SO4, but here the temperature is above 200 degrees Celsius. What will it form? K2SO4 plus HNO3. It's not that nitric acid is not formed. Nitric acid is formed, but along with that, you're getting this, and this is the one which is creating problem. This is potassium sulfate, which is fusing with the glass. Done? All of you have copied? Yes. Okay. So that was your second point. The third point, I told you, if you see the diagram, just now I showed you, isn't it? Let's see once again. If I show you this, isn't it? What you can see here, in all the cases, there's no connection at all. This apparatus is a special one, isn't it? No other connections. This is directly going into another container. In between, you don't have rubber pipes. You don't have any other pipe, no other fittings and all. Here, whatever apparatus we are using, all are made up of glass only. No rubber, no cork, nothing is used here, isn't it? Why this happens? We have designed it in a different way only. The whole apparatus is designed in a different way. So why this happens? Because nitric acid, just now we saw the nitric acid here, what are collected? The vapors, and those vapors have to pass here, they'll condense. That means in between you have nitric acid vapors, and those vapors are highly corrosive. Vapors are highly corrosive, and since they're corrosive, they can easily destroy substances like rubber, cork, and all those things. Clear? So that's why we don't use that. We avoid using that because nitric acid can destroy it. Clear? So the next point you'll write down, all glass apparatus is used, isn't it? Whatever apparatus we are using, all of them, they are simply glass apparatus. Okay. So all glass apparatus is used as nitric acid vapors are highly corrosive. They are highly corrosive and easily destroys substances like rubber, cork, etc. So these things we cannot use. Rubber is there, cork is there. These type of substances, they can easily be destroyed, and therefore we don't use these things. Is it clear? So this was one of your important point. Hurry up, copy it so that we can continue with other things. Hurry up. Okay, finished, I think. Let's continue with other things now. The next point, that was point number 3. Now point number 4. You take the nitric acid, then it is a colorless acid. But whatever we are preparing, that will be slightly yellowish in color. Clear? So why does that happen? Let's see that also. So pure nitric acid is colorless. Pure nitric acid is colorless, but the one obtained in laboratory preparation is yellowish in color. Pure nitric acid is colorless, but the one which you are obtaining it, that is yellowish in color. So why this yellow color develops? You have to see that, isn't it? What happens? I have told you nitric acid is unstable, and since it is unstable, it can decompose. Clear? So when it decomposes, I've already given you the reaction of decomposition. What will happen there? NO2 gas is produced, and that NO2 is reddish brown in color. If a small amount of NO2 is dissolved there, therefore that gives you yellowish color. Okay, so here you can write down, due to the presence of nitrogen dioxide gas, you can write down here, NO2 is a reddish brown gas. The gas is reddish brown. So due to the presence of nitrogen dioxide gas dissolved in it, formed by the decomposition. Where is NO2 coming from? Formed by the decomposition of some, not all, some nitric acid. Out of so much nitric acid formed, some will decompose, not all, but a few portions may decompose. So HNO3, I told you just now, forms what? This is HNO3, will form H2O, 4NO2 plus O2. This is your nitrogen dioxide. This is reddish brown gas. So because of that, it turns yellowish. Written, all of you? It is yellowish because of the presence of nitrogen dioxide gas dissolved. That gas is reddish brown, so that gives a yellowish color. Done. Then we'll move forward.
Yes, sir.
Now, this yellow color actually we don't need. We need pure nitric acid, means it should be colorless. So how can you remove this pure yellowish color? We can remove it by two different ways. Clear? So we'll write down that in the next point. So point number 5 we can write down. Point number 5. The yellowish color of nitric acid can be removed by the two methods. Either number 1, passing carbon dioxide or air through it. What you have to do, you just take carbon dioxide or you take air, you pass bubble out through the solution. What will happen? These gases, they'll drive away nitrogen dioxide. Once nitrogen dioxide is removed, then it becomes colorless. So since these gases are going, these gases will get dissolved and that gas is removed. Yeah. So we are passing this through it, and which drives away NO2 gas from it. Yeah, this will drive away NO2 gas. So what will be left? Carbon dioxide and air will be left. NO2 is gone. So once that is gone, the yellowish color will also go. Or if you are not going to do this, then the second method, number 2. Remember, NO2 is soluble in water, isn't it? So slowly, if we keep on diluting it, then what will happen? That NO2 will dissolve in water and that will be converted into nitric acid. So by slowly diluting the acid with constant stirring, you have to stir it constantly and then add water. So what will happen? This NO2 gas dissolves in water in presence of oxygen. Oxygen is already present, isn't it? To form HNO3, nitric acid. That means NO2, whatever was there, in the previous case, we were removing it. And in the second case, what we are doing? We are converting that NO2 into nitric acid. So what we do, you had NO2, we are adding water to it, and oxygen is always there. Oxygen dissolved in water is always there, isn't it? So these things will combine, it will form HNO3. So the combination is in this way. So finally, NO2, which was reddish brown, is now converted into nitric acid, and that nitric acid is again colorless. So these two ways you can easily remove the yellowish color. So hurry up, copy it. Have you all finished?
Yes, sir.
So all these points to note, you have to learn. I've given you different points. Each point I've written it down. So learn these points. Examination time, these are the points which are asked individually, not together, one by one. Any one of the point may be asked. Clear? So laboratory preparation, this whole method, you'll do it. Clear? Then we'll see this. Manufacture of nitric acid. Okay, let's start with this manufacture of nitric acid. Now, this manufacture, you'll see, I told you last day also, it may not be given directly in your book, but in case of ammonia, we came across this nitric acid preparation. So it is given there only. Just a few points you have to know here. Okay, so manufacture of nitric acid, if I take this manufacture, then the name of the process. Manufacture means large scale, you already know, isn't it? So it is done by a different method. So what is the method? If I say name of the method, what is the name of the process? You all should be knowing it. I gave you last day only. What will it be? Oswald's process. Name of the process, Oswald's process. And here, when we start this, we start with ammonia itself. While doing preparation, properties of ammonia, we came across this, isn't it? So the starting material, starting materials. This was the first point, this is the second point. We start with two different things. First one is ammonia. And what is the source? Ammonia is obtained from Haber's process, isn't it? And then B, with ammonia, we need, actually we need oxygen. For that oxygen, we can take air only. So we take dust-free air. We need air, but it has to be dust-free. Means dust and other things should be removed. So what we do, air passed through filters. We'll pass the air through filters, all the dust will be removed. So we got air. Air contains nitrogen, oxygen, all those things, isn't it? But out of that, we only need the oxygen part. So the ratio is ammonia is to air. The ratio is 1 is to 10. 1 part ammonia if I take, then 10 parts I have to take air. 1 liter of ammonia, then 10 liters of air I have to take. Why 10? Why such a high one? Because I told you just now, air contains nitrogen, oxygen. Oxygen is the one which we need. And how much part is oxygen? Around 20%. So around 20% means 1/5 of air is oxygen, isn't it? So out of that 10, only 1/5 will be used. 1/5 means it will be just 2 parts. So whatever we are taking means instead of air, if I had written oxygen, it was only 2 part of oxygen, isn't it? So these 2 things will react these things. So when the reaction takes place, the reaction takes place in different chambers. So what are those chambers? I'll just give you quickly. The very first thing here, you can write down. Nitric acid is manufactured in the following steps. There are different steps. The steps, what are they? The first one is your catalytic chamber. You have already studied ammonia will react with oxygen without a catalyst and with a catalyst. The one which we need here is with a catalyst. So straight away we are using a catalyst. So here again, what will be asked? Which catalyst? Since we are using a catalyst, which catalyst? It is platinum. We are using platinum gauge. That means a mesh made up of platinum, a net-like structure made up of platinum. Temperature is very important. Temperature here is 800 degrees Celsius. We'll start the reaction. NH3 will combine with oxygen. What will it form? NO plus H2O. So NO, this is taking place with platinum and 800 degrees Celsius. Along with this, you get heat. That means the reaction is exothermic, isn't it? The reaction is exothermic. Okay, so catalytic chamber, NO is formed, isn't it? This reaction is exothermic. That means initially we have to heat it, but since the reaction itself is giving out heat, after some time we can stop the heating because the reaction itself gives out energy that is enough to sustain the reaction. Okay, so that was the first step. The second step, number 2, will be cooling tower. In cooling tower, what we do? We just decrease the temperature. The temperature that was taking place was 800 degrees Celsius. Now we'll bring down to 50 degrees Celsius. Just cooling means temperature is brought down. The temperature is brought down from 800 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. From 800 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius in order to minimize the decomposition. Remember, further reaction will take place. So in order to minimize the decomposition of NO2, the next step, NO2 will be formed. So in order to minimize the decomposition of NO2 to be formed in the next step. So next step, NO2 is going to be formed. So that it does not decompose, we are bringing the temperature down. Understood? So just temperature is brought down. Then the third step is oxidizing chamber. Oxidizing chamber, what we do? We have already got NO. We'll add fresh amount of oxygen. Nothing else to do. The temperature is how much? 50 degrees Celsius. So you don't have to heat it also. These two, they'll combine to form NO2. So simply nitrogen dioxide is formed. Nitric oxide combines with oxygen. It forms nitrogen dioxide. And the last step is absorption tower. Absorption tower, what happens? This nitrogen dioxide has to be absorbed. So where is it absorbed? In water only, isn't it? So NO2 gas is absorbed in water in presence of oxygen. Oxygen was already there, so the leftover oxygen is still there. So in presence of oxygen to form nitric acid. So we are adding water to it. We in fact spray water in NO2. So when that is done, NO2 gets dissolved, and since water is already added, the one which we get is dilute nitric acid. Clear? The nitric acid obtained is 50% acid. That means 50% is acid and 50% is water. So what will happen here? You had NO2, you're adding water to it with oxygen. So they'll combine, it will form HNO3 is formed, and this nitric acid is 50% acid. That means 50% is water. Is it clear, all of you? All of you have copied?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So manufacture of nitric acid is this much. This nitric acid is 50%. We can concentrate it by distillation. This was 50%. If I simply distill it, maximum I can get is 68%. And if I want to distill it beyond that, then I have to mix it with sulfuric acid and do it. So those things are not there in your syllabus, so we don't have to look into that. Just remember the points which I have given you just now. Clear? 3 different reactions for Oswald's process that you learn it. These steps are similar to preparation of nitric acid from natural process. Natural process, it was nitrogen and oxygen. Here it is ammonia. That is the only difference. Clear? So we complete Oswald's process, manufacture of nitric acid. Today we'll do up till here. Okay, this much we'll do today. You keep on revising your things. That is more important. Yeah, revise your things. Next day we'll continue from here. Okay, everyone. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.